The following program does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the staff, management, or ownership of this station.
The following pre-recorded program is brought to you by Vertuvian, a Texas-based registered investment advisor.
Now, let the uprising begin.
There are only two genders, and one of them is right here. It's the box that rocks. This is the Angela Box Show on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
Hello, hello, hello. Once again, all my fellow patriots. And you filthy leftist stalkers out there. You're listening to the Angela Box Show. Corey, scale of 1 to 10, give me a sign. I have 0 show notes. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Scale of 1 to 10. How awesome is the show going to be? 1, crap. 10, amazeballs. 10! He gave me a 10, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So there's a lot going on as usual. We are all just, waiting with bated breath, hanging on for dear life until January 20th. And before I get to that, I'm really bummed out, and I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain of something that's going on with me. I'm getting a CO2 laser tomorrow, Corey. And basically, I've got some serious, orange, it's called, orange peel texture around my chin and around my cheek area. And it looks like I'm, a 65-year-old woman. Not that there's anything wrong with being 65. I know some 65-year-old women who are fire. But, you don't want to have the texture. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm getting this, massive sandblasting thing done tomorrow. And my whole face, neck, chest, and my hands, I'll basically look like a fetus. That's what they say. So I am super bummed out. Basically, this is a long way to say that I won't be able to be on TV with Isaiah for Inauguration Day. And I'm really bummed out about that because that would have been so many chef's kisses. Y'all, let me just tell you. Big Mike isn't going to make it to the inauguration. And Michelle Obama's like, oh, I don't know. I can't make it. My schedule doesn't allow it. And I'm joking. Some people think that, the whole rabbit hole you can go down about Michelle Obama. I think those pictures that look like she has a male part, that we've all seen, I honestly think it's probably just the corset popping out, because as someone who wears a corset, I've made this point, I love being swaddled. I don't know what it is. There's something about being just sucked in. If I'd lived in the 1890s, I would have been the whole picture of Scarlett O'Hara, they're tighter, pull it tighter. That's what I would want to feel like. So I think the pictures of Michelle Obama looking like she has a male part, I think it's probably just the corset popping out. But I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not, because, y'all, let's not go down rabbit holes that aren't really real. I've seen pictures of her as a little girl, okay? She's a woman. She's an unpleasant woman and a leftist, but a woman nonetheless. And so we come to find out that she's not going to be at the inauguration next week, but Obama is. So is George W. Bush. So is Bill Clinton. Interesting, right? And I'm sure Satan's muse Hillary Clinton will also be there. And it's why are they going? Why? This is my question. Because they've done everything humanly possible to stop Donald Trump. And Donald Trump knows all the things that they've done. And I will remind everybody of the letters that each of the former presidents got at the H.W. Bush funeral. Bush got one, Obama got one, Clinton got one, Pence got one. And keep in mind, Pence was Trump's vice president. The only ex-president that did not get one was Jimmy Carter. And so there's been this thought, maybe, it's a nice little rabbit hole to go down, that perhaps the notes said, because the faces on the people that read the notes, they got the notes, they opened them, and they're like, oh, God. You can go find it. You can just Google notes passed out at H.W. Bush funeral. Whatever. Just do that. Anyway, the looks on their faces said it all. And it was, there's some thinking that perhaps Trump, in his first term, was gotcha, or something like that. I don't know. So I think that the reason we're going to see some of the worst people in the world go to the inauguration could be a couple reasons. One, they might want to keep their eyes on him as the deep state will be doing, or they're pulling a Mark Zuckerberg or a Jeff Bezos. They're like, hey, let's just be cool now. Can we just be cool? Like, forget all that stuff we tried to do to you. Like, just kidding. Let's be cool now. And again, they think that he's the level of narcissist that is going to be swayed by having his ego stroked. And I just don't think that's going to happen. So it's going to be interesting. By the time I come back with you next week, I will look, again, like a fetus. And Trump will be the president of the United States, God willing. God willing, unless they pull some shenanigans, which don't put it past them. Now, a couple things happened over the last few days. Jack Smith, deranged Jack Smith, as Donald Trump calls him, released his little report. And Eileen Cannon, who's the federal judge, initially was like, we're not going to release it. It's stupid, like whatever. And then she's like, you know what? Release it. And all it was, you guys, was basically foreshadowing, or not foreshadowing, but like telling on themselves, like the projection that the deep state does, because they think, well, we do these shady things, so ergo our enemies also must do these shady things. So basically, Jack Smith, he took his dollies and went home, and he quit. Here's quit. I quit the Justice Department. It's like, you didn't quit. You know that your time is up. Like, you're screwed. Like, all these people that work together in order to create this false narrative that Trump was trying to steal the 2020 election away from the sack of potatoes, like 81 million legitimate votes. Like, all the things they did, they all colluded together to do that. Everything is going to come out. So Jack Smith thinking, I'm going to quit. I'm taking my dollies and going home. But before I do that, here's my little report that took $100 million of your money to generate. And all he said was, yeah, if Trump didn't have immunity, if SCOTUS, those right-wing extremists that sit on the SCOTUS, like if they had not given him presidential immunity, well, we would be able to charge him with election interference. It's like, how? What did he do? All he said was, hey, there's some things that are a little strange, like maybe we want to look into Brad Raffensperger. And that's the whole crux of Georgia's case, too. Brad Raffensperger, the corrupt Secretary of State, along with the corrupt Governor Brian Kemp, who's an ever-Trumper. Again, if you look at who is allied together and against Trump, it's not just Democrats. It's Republicans, too. And that's the whole point of the swamp. And that's the whole point of draining the swamp. So all Trump said to Brad Raffensperger, keep in mind on this call, that they keep trying to make hay out of, was, hey, what's up with the State Farm Arena shutting down at 10:30 at night? Again, when you add up the totality of all these things, all the swing states shut down at 10:30 at night, and they all came up with different reasons, and they were all stupid reasons. And it has never been done before, and the media's like, oh, they're tired. There's, so you're going to go, it's night time, and it's binky time, and it's having some hot milk time. They're sleepy. They're so sleepy. They need to shut everything down. Never did it before. And then you look at Ruby Freeman and her daughter, who were pulling out suitcases of ballots, along with this election judge or whoever he was, and, doing all that. We're going to pick this up in the second segment because they are so screwed, you guys. So screwed. All right, you're listening to the Joe Bob Show. I'll be right back.
You've tuned into the right place for conservatism. It's the Box that rocks. This is the Angela Box Show on AM 1070 and FM 103.3. The Answer.
Okay, so let's, again, go through the totality of evidence. I've done this many times, but it bears repeating, considering that Jack Smith is, releasing his report at 1 a.m. and, the media, it was such a letdown that all the New York Times could even say was 4 key takeaways from Jack Smith's case. Like, okay, again, tell on yourselves, because you're doing what you're accusing Trump of doing. So all Trump did was say to Brad Raffensperger, can you look into this? Because at 1:30 in the morning, we've got these two dirtbags, the Freeman mother and daughter team, along with the county clerk or whoever it was in Fulton County, Georgia. They kicked all the Republicans out. They kicked everybody out. And, they put up pizza boxes. They did that, I think, in Philadelphia. But they kicked everybody out, again, in the 5 swing states. Well, it's sleepy time now. And then once everybody was gone, what happened? Why, whether it was in Philadelphia or Fulton County or Wisconsin or Arizona or wherever that Democrats were running these places. And again, all these major cities were run by Democrats, and all of them just happened to go home at 10:30 at night on election night. Anyway, what happened at 1:30 in the morning? These women pulled out their suitcases of ballots and started dropping ballots into the machines. And 98% of those ballots went to Joe Biden. What? Like, wait a minute. You sent everybody home, right? Like, that's what you said. You sent everybody home. Then why at 1:30 in the morning are we recording votes? Okay? Right there and then. This should be done. Case over. They stole it. So anyway, Trump's whole point was like, can you just look into this? Like, that's it. And then the whole thing with January 6th was an absolute setup and an absolute farce. And the reason they deplatformed Trump and the reason they took away his Twitter and took away his Instagram, took away his Facebook, the contention was, what the legacy media said, and Facebook that was censoring everything and fact checking, and you can't talk about hydroxychloroquine and the stolen election, or we're gonna come get you. What'd they say? They were like, oh, he's fomenting an insurrection. Is he? Well, of course he isn't. And the reason they deplatformed him was because they didn't want the world to see that he was basically saying, all right, everyone, go home. Like, I know that you're mad. I know that you're upset. We're all upset. This has obviously been a coup. But go home. Be peaceful. We are not like them. And they took it down. And then they had the whole charade of the January 6th committee and the whole charade of Cassidy Hutchinson, which, again, I think we're going to come to find out she was a plant all along. And they are so dumb and so arrogant. And what do I always say? Say it with me, boys and girls and transgenders. Dumb and arrogant is a dangerous combination because they believed the most outlandish, ridiculous things. That Donald Trump commandeered a limo from a Secret Service person and said that Mike Pence should be hung. Like, the dumbest things, okay? And that Donald Trump somehow wrote a memo saying, we're going to have an insurrection today. Yippee skippy doo. Anyway, dumb, right? Dumb. But this is how desperate they were to get him. So Jack Smith has nothing. $100 million, just like the Russia collusion hoax, was like $100 million that Robert Mueller had. And keep in mind, remember that time where the legacy media, Facebook, Twitter, MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times, all of them, they all were, and Adam Schiff was one of the most egregious, who were like, yes, we've seen the evidence. Trump colluded with Putin to steal the 2016 away from the most amazing woman who was just so close to shattering that glass ceiling if it wasn't for that evil orange man, Hillary Clinton, Satan's muse, as I call her. Yes, just working with Putin all the time, peeing on hookers, all of it. They literally, for like 2-3 years of the Robert Mueller thing, were like, we've got the evidence. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. And then when finally Robert Mueller released his report and was like, yeah, there's no evidence of collusion or anything. And in fact, keep in mind what we're going to find out. And these people think that they're going to get off scot-free if Peepaw wants to do a preemptive pardon of like Cheney and Fauci and Robert Mueller and Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, all these people. They think that they're going to get off scot-free if he does a blanket preemptive pardon. They're not, because fraud and treason vitiates everything. Okay? So Robert Mueller came out and was like, no, there's nothing. Sorry, $100 million later, there's nothing. And the media and the left were like, what? And Devin Nunes is over there with Kash Patel, who basically uncovered the entire Russia collusion hoax, and the great book, The Plot Against the President by Lee Smith, which you must see. It's also on Amazon, which I could not believe that at the time Bezos would allow that to be streamed on Amazon, but he did. It's on Amazon. You can go see it. The Plot Against the President. And it basically was Kash Patel and Devin Nunes exposing all of it. And Devin Nunes would come out and he would, referring to Adam Schiff. And keep in mind, Nunes was a congressman from the Central Valley of California. Adam Schiff's a lunatic from San Francisco. No, I'm sorry, L.A. I remember, side note, I remember when Adam Schiff got elected. It was after the Clinton impeachment. And there was a guy, and I think his name was Congressman either Hogan or Rogan. And he was one of the people that was on the impeachment committee of Clinton. And keep in mind, what did Bill Clinton do? Clinton just didn't have sex with an intern, okay? He suborned perjury. He obstructed justice. All right? He actively did those things. It's not just about, I had an inappropriate affair with a woman who could be my daughter. I mean, that's not gross or anything, but it's the fact that he suborned perjury. He told people to lie. He obstructed justice. He tried to get her a sweetheart deal so she wouldn't talk. Like, we know what this scumbag did. And then later on, we come to find out he's flown to Epstein Island 26 times. He's scum, okay? So anyway, after that, this Republican, I think it was out of Pasadena area, got beaten by Adam Schiff. I remember. And I remember calling his office, this congressman who lost. And I was like, I got emotional. And I remember driving, I think I was driving to work or something. And I called him and I was like, it was right when cell phones came out. So there you go. And I was like, I just want to thank you for doing this. And I know it cost your political career, but you did the right thing. Anyway, that's when Adam Schiff was sprung upon all of us. So keep in mind, Adam Schiff is in L.A., Devin Nunes is in Central California. They're both congressmen from California. And Adam Schiff is out, like, basically saying that the Nunes report was total garbage and that he's seen evidence that Trump colluded with Putin. They just lied his face off for 2 years. And Nunes is like, what are you even saying, Adam Schiff? Like, you saw the same stuff we did. Like, you're lying. And, of course, Nunes is not going to talk about top secret things that they saw on the committee. But Adam Schiff just makes it all up, and there's no consequences for him. Oh, well, I think there will be consequences. All right, this is a long way of saying that Jack Smith had nothing, Robert Mueller had nothing, and this is what happens when you make things up about people. When you try and create something out of nothing, when you literally destroy innocent people's lives, eventually it's all going to come back. Now, I had a thought, and I think that this will bear fruit. You know, remember the Potemkin villages of communism, how communism, for the majority of the 20th century wreaked havoc on the world. Certainly Latin America, the USSR, Asia, and of course there's still China and still Cuba and still Venezuela and vestiges of communism. But whatever, like it's a failed thing. Like, duh, obviously it failed. But they pretended that they had, they were strong like bull, and they were this big dominant force and the space race and all the things. And people would go to these communist countries and they would basically have these shows put on for these visiting dignitaries to show how great communism was. And the Potemkin villages were basically a cardboard cutout of a town. And they said, oh, isn't this great? Look how happy everybody is. And then, of course, you go in a few blocks and it's just misery and hell. So that's kind of what the deep state is. And that's what they did to Trump. They tried to create a Potemkin village of this guy is all these things, but it doesn't bear fruit because it's not true. And so just like communism, how we all thought that communism was this force for evil and we had to fight it, and oh my God, is it ever going to go away? It's sort of like what we're seeing with the woke and the DEI and the anti-Trump movement going away. Because I think, remember what we all dealt with for 2-3 years and what they wanted to do to us with the suppression of free speech, the lying about hydroxychloroquine, lying about ivermectin, shutting people down if they question their narrative. Like, literally, you could not get a word in. I had everything nuked. All my social media platforms nuked. I mean, nuked. They're like, we know her. We know exactly what she's all about, whether it's the IP address or whatever. Like, please, I've been on the radar since 2014. But anyway, the point is, they had such a stranglehold on the narrative and on people. And until Trump's reelection, there was this feeling of, is the woke ever going to go away? Is the DEI ever going to go away? Is this idea where we have to, objective reality of there being two genders? And it's like, no, there's not. Well, there's infinite number of genders, and of course men should have tampons. There should be tampons in men's restrooms. Like, of course there should be. Like, I think we lived through such a crazy time that we did never think it was going to go away. And then all of a sudden, once Trump was reelected, it went poof, goodbye. That's exactly what happened with communism. And that's exactly what is happening with the deep state. And let me tell you something. We're going to talk about the fires. We're going to talk about Pete Hegseth in the next segment, or whatever I want to get to. But they don't even get it yet. They don't even understand that they're flailing about, and their weak response to Trump is just, people are just like, it's a far different cry than 2016. Everyone's just gonna be like, yeah, we're all done. Like, go have your tantrum. Like, goodbye. Either get on board or get the hell out of the way and leave us alone. Leave us alone and stop coming for our kids and stop trying to pretend that, we should put tampons in men's bathrooms. And by the way, Mark Zuckerberg saying, we're going to take away the tampons in men's bathrooms. Think how insane that sounds. Think about how literally insane that is, that would even be a thing, that there would be tampons in men's bathrooms. Like, what are you even saying, you lunatics? It's going to be quite an interesting anthropological study of this time period. 100 years from now, I'll be like, oh my God, these people were insane. Anyway, we'll talk about more stuff when we get back. You're listening to the Angela Box Show.
Standing up for what's right. This is the Angela Box Show on the Big 1070. The Answer.
Okay, so all of these things that are going poof, goodbye, are the period at the end of the woke sentence is going to happen on January 20th. I'm telling you, man, Biden is like trying to go out with a whimper. He's so pathetic, isn't he? Him and Kamala Harris, Senator Knee Pads. I will miss saying Senator Knee Pads, and I will miss saying people. Like, say something nice, Angela. Okay. I will miss calling Joe Biden a decrepit bag of potatoes. Like, I will miss that. I will miss calling Kamala Harris Senator Knee Pads because she's a literal hoe. Okay? I will miss that. So there, I said something nice. Joe Biden, evidently, the New York Times wanted to let us know, because I get the New York Times bulletin every morning, and I get Newsweek's bulletin every morning. And, this morning's Newsweek bulletin was like, here's where to watch Joe Biden tonight. Here's where to watch Joe Biden's farewell speech to America. And he's like, the stupid speech, he's like, talks about, what is he saying? I don't even know. Let me look at Breitbart here, because it's okay. Biden says goodbye with self-congratulatory letter, says the country is stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. What are you even saying, Peepaw? Like, you literally did everything humanly possible to destroy this country. Flung open the borders, let every illegal alien come in, and we got, situations where 158 Democrats didn't even vote for the Laken Riley Act last week. The act that said, if you're an illegal alien and you've committed violent crimes, well, then you're going to get deported. The Democrats were like, no, no, I don't think so. That's racist. Like, that's how out of control these people are. So Joe Biden is, again, he's going to hell soon. And one would think, since he allegedly is such a devout Catholic, one would think that Joe Biden would maybe start telling the truth. But they're so dumb and arrogant they won't do it. Like, I think that Joe Biden has convinced himself that he is beloved. Like, he and Senator Knee Pads, like, it was, history is going to treat them so well. Like, no, history is going to treat you as the administration that was illegitimate and fraudulently installed. Like, that's what's going to happen. And Donald Trump, the whole Jack Smith thing is going to be, Donald Trump's going to be like, I told you I was right. I told you we had everything. I told you we caught them all. You didn't believe me. Like, that's cool. it's kind of like, it's like I always talk about, like, I know what I know, and, like, whether it's your instinct or your subconscious or what, like, listen to your gut, all right? Your gut is never wrong. Like, just trust your gut. And Trump's like, I told y'all this was what was going to happen, but you didn't believe me and you didn't listen. So anyway, Joe Biden is saying goodbye to the nation, and it's basically his legacy of garbage. And Senator Kneepads the other day on X was like, hey, everybody, I just want to let you know that we've signed a student debt relief. We're going to, like, make sure to cancel all your debt. Like, I know that you got degrees that were totally worthless and, like, you can't work in the real world. But at least you know that there are, 27 genders. Like, at least you know that. And we're just going to go ahead and cancel all your debt. You're welcome. It's like, keep tweeting about this, you dumb hoe. Because when the trial starts for fraud and treason and all the things, like, it's just going to be more evidence against you. And no amount of, drinking your way through it, Kamala Harris, is going to work for you. Even when the Supreme Court, like, struck down Joe Biden trying to cancel everyone's student debt that they took out voluntarily. And I took out student loans, and I paid them all back, by the way. These people took them out voluntarily, and they chose to go to insanely expensive colleges that then taught them nonsense and gave classes on Beyonce like they're doing at Princeton. Like, they chose to do that. And then we're supposed to pay, we, the American people, are supposed to, like, let them off the hook? Like, I don't think so. And the Supreme Court's like, no, you can't do that. But Joe Biden doesn't care. Kamala Harris doesn't care. They're like, yeah, we will. And they're doing these things. So the they think we're stupid. What they're doing is they're trying to make all these little, snowflakes angry. Oh, because Trump's be like, no, we're not doing that. I'm reversing that. Like, that's not happening. And he's just trying to, like, get Antifa band back together, get the BM band back together, like, get the women's march group back together. Like, that's all they're doing. Anyway, let's get to some other stuff. Speaking of insufferable women, so many insufferable women, so little time. Yesterday, as I'm taping this, Pete Hegseth had his confirmation hearing, and let me go through why the left hates Pete Hegseth. And I'm just going to be a very petty person right now. It's because he's universally hot, okay? Can we just start there? Like, there's a lot of jealousy in the world. There's a lot of people that they wish, and they could never, okay? And if you look at who populates modern feminism, it's a bunch of 400-pound women who don't know what gender they are. They don't know how to define a woman. They're unattractive. They've been sold a bill of goods that they should be fat and all the crap, right? So they secretly wish that they could be like a trad wife. They secretly wish that there was a man in their life. I'm sorry. I must keep 100. All right. They secretly wish that they had a man in their life that loved them enough to be like, you know what? I'm going to marry you. I'm going to take care of you. I got you, girl. They wish, and they don't. So there's that point. He's universally hot. Just like I say, my fiancé is universally hot. Also, he's brilliant. He went to Yale, he went to Harvard, and he didn't come out woke. Then they hate him because he was actually a fighting infantryman. So he understands war. He's been in Afghanistan twice. He's won like 2 Bronze Stars. He's like just a total badass and a totally unconventional choice for Secretary of Defense, which is why they hate him. Also, because Trump is once again showing that he thinks outside the box, and he's going to go with people that have talked about the kind of military he wants to get back to. And so yesterday, the cackling hyenas that sat on the confirmation committee, Christian Gillibrand, Elizabeth Warren, just, losing their damn minds, okay? because Pete Hegseth said, no, women shouldn't be in combat, and women should be mothers. They shouldn't be fighting on the front lines. It's like, yeah, like, and your point, like, obviously women should not be in combat. Like, it's stupid. It's real dumb. It's sort of like what we're seeing with the LA fires. When you wokeify things, when you make DEI your number one priority, you dumb everything down and you make it so much worse. And look, we can even have a discussion on should there be women in the military at all. Because when you add men and women in the same, situation, you get problems like sexual assaults or fraternization or just drama, right? Like, there's just drama. When you put men and women together in the workplace, that's just how it's going to be. Now, Pete Hegseth is like, no, we should not have women in combat. Like, period, dot, the end. We need to have the most lethal fighting force on the planet. And that fighting force should not be just sent out willy-nilly to, Ukraine and fight other people's battles and all the things that we've been doing. And it's a very unconventional choice. And Pete Hegseth is a big believer in ending the swamp, ending the military-industrial complex that another great general said, Dwight Eisenhower, when he became president at the end of his term. He called out the military-industrial complex. And for a man that was I don't know how many stars General Dwight Eisenhower was, but he was a general in World War II, and he was a badass. And he was like, no, we cannot have this where people are getting rich from going to war. Because the people that are doing that, they don't have to be on the front lines fighting. It's your sons. And anyway, so the hysterical shrews like Kristen Gillibrand and Elizabeth Warren, who does have exquisite skin, I have to give her that. But they basically made the case as for why there should be no women in combat. Like, thank you. Thank you for your hysteria. And then you look over at the cackling Shakespearean witches on The View. Same thing. They stop making our case for us. Like, you're making it too easy to dunk on you. Okay? Like, all of you, you can have meltdowns all you want. But again, we're not doing that anymore. It's like, it's kind of like how Blue Sky, for a minute there, they thought, oh, Blue Sky is going to take on Twitter. It's going to take on X. And we're going to have our own little community, our own safe space. And, we're not going to let anyone misgender us and all the wonderful things that the left does. And, of course, now, what are all the leftists doing? They're coming back to X because they have no engagement with normal people. It's people who tattletale all the time because they don't like anything. I had a Blue Sky account just to, F with them. It was, like, deleted with they struck me down within, like, 72 hours. They're like, no, you're out. So it's just funny that they're all going to have their little meltdowns, and they're all going to be like, how come nobody listens to us anymore? And why is the Washington Post online traffic down like 90% over, 10 years ago? It's going to get worse for you guys because Trump is basically building a social media firewall with Mark Zuckerberg, of all people, now going, okay, we won't censor anymore. We're going to end the fact-checking because it's all leftist. Bezos coming on board, they're all going to the inauguration, and like Trump's like, yeah, your garbage is going to be knocked down in about 30 seconds now. You're not going to have a foothold anymore. They're going to kick and scream and cry, and it's going to be so great, you guys. I cannot wait. All right, one more segment. You're listening to Angela Box Show.
It's the box that rocks with Angela Box on AM 1070 and FM 103.3. The Answer.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about some cultural stuff real quick because this is, the culture is political because the left has made everything political. And, join me in the schadenfreude of the downfall of Meghan Markle. Like, it is so chef's kiss, so many chef's kisses. I want to give a shout-out to Princess Catherine, the future Queen of England, who is cancer-free, thank God. I read it yesterday, and I was like, she's in remission. I was like, oh, no, it came back. And I was like, oh, wait, remission. That means that's good. Okay, that's good. So she and Prince William I don't really want to get into the rabbit holes of the royal family. Like, I'm kind of like a royalist deep down. I kind of am. Like, but they need to unwokeify themselves. And I think it will happen as the culture changes. I think it will happen. But anyway, so Prince William and Princess Catherine were at the hospital that she got a lot of her treatment at. And it was so neat to see, like, they've become like these patrons of this hospital. So they're going to use the royalty to raise money and to build awareness and do really good stuff, which is what royalty should be doing. They shouldn't be doing what Meghan Markle did and what Prince Harry did. And it is like a case study. It's like they did everything wrong. They've done everything wrong. It's really wild to watch, the karma. So Meghan Markle, she has a show on Netflix that's coming out that's now been postponed, ostensibly because of the fires. But the real reason is that the series YouTube trailer just got slammed. And if you want to just like throw up in your mouth a little bit, go find the trailer and watch it. It is so unself-aware, so tone deaf, so self-congratulatory, and so narcissistic. Now, keep in mind, Meghan Markle kept telling us what a feminist she is and how, I don't want to be like known as a woman in the kitchen. So what does she do? She does a cooking show that she's like, look, I made some hummus and I put some olive oil on top of it. And I like to reimagine the ordinary and make it just extraordinary. And she has all her famous adjacent friends that, she's got like 3 friends left, and they're all like, oh my God, you're amazing. And it's just awful, you guys. It's just awful. And Netflix, you know that Netflix hates them. They gave them $100 million. And again, talk about pissing away every good thing you had going for you. Because when they had the big stink of leaving the royal family and the ginger prince, like, just like, I'm the spur. And it's like, well, you still are. Now you're really the spare in your own marriage. Like, you married a malignant, psychopathic narcissist. Like, have fun with that. Anyway, they pissed away any goodwill that they had. $100 million. They've produced nothing. They're lazy. Look, I joke around that, like, I'm good at 5 things, but at least I own it. Okay? Like, one of the things I'm good at is running my mouth about leftists. Like, I'm good at that. And so, like, but they couldn't even, like, because they were so knee-jerk woke, and because they just gave lip service to the latest woke crap, and Meghan Markle's up there going, oh, women, oh, we're so oppressed. Oh, girls, women need to find their voice. It's like, you have a voice. This is stupid. Stop making this a thing, because you really want to highlight where women don't have voices. I mean, go to the Middle East, Meghan Markle. Instead of doing a show about polo, Prince Harry, a completely elitist sport that nobody cares about in America or around the world, frankly, unless you're like a billionaire. Like, what? So they've created nothing. They've engendered so much ill will that there's a whole cottage industry now of people hating Meghan Markle. And there are YouTube channels dedicated to it that I watch. Thank you very much. I watch so much stuff about Meghan Markle, and I cop it. I own it. She is so easy to hate. And so I don't think that the cottage industry of hating Meghan Markle is going to go away. What I wish Netflix would do, and this is how they hate her a lot, because they allowed the comments to remain open. They allowed the comments to remain open. You know who doesn't allow comments on the YouTube is the official White House channel. And what do you want to bet that one of the first things that Trump's communication team does on January 20th is reopens the comments on the YouTubes? Because when Joe Biden came in, and this, really, FJB forever, okay? FJB forever. If you actually legitimately won an election, you don't have to worry about the public hating you. And even if half the public does hate you, so what? Like, rise above it. Prove them wrong, okay? But no. This was deep in censorship land. deep in we must control the narrative. And so what did the official White House YouTube do? They shut off comments. And YouTube literally changed the like and dislike button to insulate Joe Biden and to protect the illegitimate administration. So they took away the dislike count. So you can't see how many dislikes there are. And I think for some reason, on some you can see the dislikes, but like on the official White House channel, you can't. And they don't allow comments because, everyone loves them. And Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Like, he's the most popular president in American history. Why? He had the circles and he had people standing on them at his rallies, all 25 of them. Anyway, so the reason that Netflix hates Meghan Markle is, they hate this heifer. Like, I am here for it. It's so much schadenfreude. They've allowed the comments to remain open. And basically the public was like, yeah, we hate you. Like, we really hate you. And you completely crapped the bed, as they say. And you took so much goodwill that people had for you, which they all had goodwill for Meghan and Prince Harry. They were happy for him. They're like, oh, he's happy. And but those of us who knew the buzzwords and understood what a kind of a grifting, woke, social climbing, narcissist psychopath she is, like, we saw her coming a mile away. We're like, this woman is in it for her. And she's not trying to, like, be what Princess Catherine is and be, subservient to her husband in the role that, the Prince William's the royalty. She just married into the family. Like, check yourself, Meghan, okay? Nobody cares about you. She's the worst. Like, you guys, there are so many fun hate Meghan Markle YouTube channels, and I love that these creators are actually, like, generating income on hating Meghan Markle. It's very, very, very fitting, considering what a grifter she is. Anyway, so I think what Netflix should do, because they basically said, because of the fires, they're not going to release this until March, because it's just not a good look. Because, again, it's completely a tone-deaf series. And, again, what kind of I'm a feminist. I want women to have a voice. So what do? You create a cooking show, an elitist cooking show that you don't even film in your own house. You live in like some, $14 million mansion in Montecito, which I can't even imagine the level of insufferability that community must have with, all the rich leftists. Like, I would be like, shoot me every day. Like, ugh, these people. But it's bad when Oprah, which everyone hates now, which again, chef's kiss. Remember how much we all used to like Oprah? Remember that? I'm telling you, she's a great actress. I love Color Purple is one of my favorite movies. And then what they do, they wokeified it and they made it into a musical and they destroyed it. Like, stop it. But Oprah Winfrey, like, this is how you know it's bad. Like, Oprah knows that her star is, like, plummeting quickly to the ground. She sucked up to Harvey Weinstein just like all of them. And she, I didn't know if she uninvited Meghan or just didn't invite her to Gayle King's surprise party, her best friend. Meghan Markle wasn't invited to that party. So it's bad when the Oprah, like, starts turning on you. Anyway, the fires is the reason that Netflix is saying they're going to cut this off. But there's this one lady, her name is Lady Cavendish. She's a real, like, titled person in England. She, like, talks a lot of crap, and she's written books about the royals and Meghan and all this stuff. And she's like, well, my sources are saying that Netflix canceled it or Netflix pushed it back indefinitely because Meghan needs to basically make people not hate her so much. So what did Meghan do? Why, she and Prince Harry took a film crew to the fires in Pasadena and walked around and got filmed hugging people because, Meghan's a hugger, you guys. She's a hugger. And everyone's like, we hate you. Like, we really hate you. It's funny. What's the over, Corey? Give me a 1 to 10 years on what's the over under on when he's going to divorce her. I say give it another 2 years max. 1 year. Corey says 1 year. Okay, that's a good line. Well, let's remember that. The line is 1 year. Okay, so I'm going to go a little over because they've, so tied themselves into the crap, but we'll see. All right, I didn't even get to the fires, you guys. I'm sorry. Just running my mouth like crazy. I will see you next week, looking like a fetus. You've been listening to the Angela Box Show. Until next time, everybody, keep kicking ass and taking names. Peace.